Okay, so I've stopped the the Blog Talk Radio. I see Lori and Divine Events in the chat. Thanks for being here. I have never seen it so quiet ever. Were there any questions that we weren't able to get to? Doesn't look like it. Lori's the only one there now. Oh, you're welcome. I'm just reading the chat here. Okay. Yes, thank you, Lori. Yeah, people are probably away. I think that's probably what happened, Lori. At least that makes me feel better when I say that. So, are you Are you staying at home? Are you traveling? Are you going away for Thanksgiving? I was just curious. Oh, you're welcome. Say thanks for everyone. Thanks for everything. I'm not traveling. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the traveling during Thanksgiving. So anyway, well, thank you for joining me, Laurie, and I look forward to reaching out with you and connecting with you again in the future. Oh, you mentioned something about marketing, and I wanted to, was it you? You both, what's the best place to get brides? Can't afford bridal show fees at this time. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there with the fee for the bridal shows. I don't know, you may have heard me say this before, Laurie. Do you have a target bride? Do you know who your ideal customer is? Like, does your bride have, could you narrow it down, for example? Like, does she live in a certain area? Budget bride. Okay, so how much is she spending on her wedding, approximately? Is it more than 10,000? Is it less than 10,000? Because that's important. Even when you say budget bride, you want to narrow it down. 10 to 15,000. So what kind of services will you provide for a bride that has $10,000 to spend? As a wedding planner, what would you do for her? Oh, on day of. Perfect. That's good. Well, you almost have to paint a picture of what she looks like, Laurie, you know, where she goes, what she reads. Talk to your wedding vendors and you both work full time. Okay, good. You should try our wedding the class. But the idea is you've got to find out who that person is and speak to her and go where she goes. And I know that sounds a little vague, but understanding who your target bride is will help you determine where you need to go. For example, if you had said high-end bride, works all day long and maybe works a 12-hour day or something like that, then that would help you. One of our students, one of the members on the Wedding Business Guide, says she does day off. And she says a lot of her business comes from people who are working in the medical field, nurses, x-ray techs, and things like that, because they have such long hours. They don't have the time to plan weddings. Now, when she said that, instantly it became very clear where she would need to go to market. Medical place, where they're working, where they're reading, where they congregate for lunch. Then all of a sudden it just becomes crystal clear. So start thinking about day of. Who's using day of wedding services? DIY brides, but I mean that's kind of vague. Who are the people that want your services but don't have time for your services? Medical field makes sense. Someone who's working maybe a mid-level, a lower admin job, for example. Probably you're going to have to do some persuading that they need your services. But someone who's just busy, and is getting married but needs help with the day of, who has been pretty. Maybe they've gotten around to the part of getting all their vendors and such. They just need you to come down the end. It's a very specific type of person. So you start thinking about what kind of person would be, well, in your instance, it's a little different. What kind of person would be organized enough to plan their wedding, but doesn't want to be bothered with doing it on the day of? Another thing with regard to day of is reaching out not just to brides but to their parents, because the mother of the bride is usually the one running around at the last minute. She doesn't want to do that. If you can reach out to the mother of the bride, then that's a good thing. So what does the mother of the bride look like? I mean, normally which part of town? Where does she go? What does she read? Is she getting her hair done someplace? Is she socializing some other place? So you have to become really laser focused about who your bride is and then reach out from there. And then once you start doing that, you're not even going to worry about bridal shows. Why would you worry about a bridal show? If you know that, using that medical example, the person works in the medical field, you can reach out to them. You can see if they have any, if they have a community board, do they have any social events and things like that? Where are they going lunchtime? Where are they going online? So you you do have to zone in to the point where you're almost anal. And then once you have a description about who that ideal person is, you speak to her in everything you do. When you put the wording on your website, when you, your voicemail messages, it's like you're speaking to her. It's not like a group of people. You're speaking to that individual. And then when she comes along and reads your website, it's like, wow, it's like she's talking to me. And that's exactly what you want, because by the time she calls you or emails you, she's pre-sold on you because you've zoned into what it is that she wants. And I mean, it's kind of hard for me to explain in this scenario, but you stop thinking about things like bridal shows and what do I do. You just become so laser focused. And when you go on Facebook, you're speaking to her. When you put your tagline for your business, you're speaking to her. When you write a description of your packages, you're speaking to her. Imagine you're working 12-hour days and you know the wedding's coming up. You haven't had a chance to double check with the vendors. You haven't figured out, you haven't gone through all of the timetable for the day of. Well, I'm going to take care of all that for you. Do you see how it kind of just switches up and you paint that picture and then you step in? It's like, ta-da, here I am. But just some food for thought, as we're going through the holidays, if you have any downtime, I would start thinking. And you're saying budget brides. I think you can aim a little higher than that. And I'm not trying to put you down. What I'm saying is the budget bride, a lot of times it's hard to get that money, but you can usually do the same amount of work if you sort of zone into another area and think slightly differently and get someone to pony up that money. I don't know if you agree with that, but I hope I haven't insulted you by my last statement. So it's just harder to make money with the budget bride. And then you can still create stuff for the budget bride. Maybe you do an ebook, or maybe you do the workshops and charge $10. And what that'll do is just put you out there as the expert. The media will pick up on that. Just go out of your comfort zone if it's not something you're comfortable with doing, and start thinking, how can I put myself out there and explain about weddings? Because you want them to plan the wedding properly, because you're just going to come in at the end. You want them to have done a good job by the time you get there. So start thinking about that. And I'm going to stop now because it's past 8 o'clock. So, keep me posted as to how things go. But I would say do that, your homework with that. We just finished a book and have a workshop planned for February. Well, Lori, that's what I'm talking about. That's really what you've got to do. So you're on the right track now. So now you just got to think about, who's my target bride, so that when you host these workshops, everything you say, you're speaking to her. And maybe your secondary client is really, the mother of the bride, the person who gets lumbered with all of the running around, or the sister of the bride or something like that. So maybe you promote, gift certificates or something for your day of service. That would be a great gift for someone who's getting married next year. So start thinking about that. And really happy to hear that you just finished a book and, you got a workshop planned. You're on the right track. Love that. All right, my love. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you. You have a good night, and I hope it helps, but just keep me posted, okay? Happy Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you soon.
Confetti, a wedding planning business talk show. Confetti.